Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the end of January of 2022, and as we get closer to the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 5, a lot of Star Wars fans are also very excited about what's to happen with the marketing run of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, which all begins by mid to late March of this year, so stay tuned for that. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do make sure to post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really interact with you guys further. So what's even all the more exciting about everything related to what George, John, and Dave have in store for the future of the Star Wars universe has to do with the fact of what's going on with a lot of the TV shows like Kenobi, Ahsoka, Mando Season 3, The Bad Batch Season 2. We also have a handful of other animated and live-action projects that will be announced at Celebration, including the Darth Maul TV show. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there is an animated Crimson Dawn series that's going to revolve around Darth Maul. It's basically going to be an extension, if you will, of the Clone Wars / Rebels, showing us more about the life of Darth Maul before he died. Now, when you look at everything related to George, John, and Dave and their treatment of Star Wars and exactly what they are really planning to do with the overall franchise is that they are going to be combining both Legends and unused Legends material, as well as mixing it in with the Disney canon. And what I mean by the unused Legends material, we're talking about basically unapproved concepts by George Lucas back in the day, back in the 1990s, that George Lucas wrote off and said, let's not do this in the books, let's not do this in the comics or any other kind of story. So a lot of those concepts that were put to the wayside for Legends back in the day are going to resurface and be used for this new universe. So that's going to be very exciting as well. So overall, what's really intriguing is that with both Disney and Lucasfilm now focused on their new Star Wars TV shows like Ahsoka and Mando Season 3, both Favreau and Filoni are getting ready to announce a series of new Star Wars shows at Celebration. Now, it's described, however, that behind the scenes, many adjustments have been made to the direction of the Star Wars franchise, all thanks to Favreau and Filoni for regulating the universe. However, in a recent interview with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, she went on to eventually talk about her thoughts on Gina Carano. Kathleen Kennedy goes on to state that many of us over at Lucasfilm really had issues with Miss Carano and her behavior outside of work and especially on the set of the Mandalorian series. We had insisted that she'd use her stunt doubles in certain scenes, and she kept on pushing to do her own stunts, which we had thought was unsafe and put many others over at risk. When I look at the past 2 seasons of The Mandalorian that we had created, I have been in talks with those over at Disney on a pitch to remove Miss Carano from the 2 seasons that we had developed to erase the character entirely. So let me just stop right here for a second. Now, this is something that we talked about very lightly a couple of times in the past number of months, that Kathleen Kennedy was up to something of proposing some kind of concept or idea of removing Gina Carano from the past 2 Mandalorian seasons altogether and taking her off the show by deleting her scenes out of the show. And this is something that Kathleen Kennedy is now pushing and aiming to do and trying to really convince Disney's higher-ups to actually move along with. Now, obviously, Disney's not going for it. We're going to talk about that in just a second because there's more to the story than that. But everything related to Mando Season 1 and 2, could you imagine taking all those scenes out for Gina Carano? It would not only affect the character, but it would also affect the characters that surround Cara Dune. I mean, she had a lot of scenes, that surrounded the characters of Din Djarin, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, all those different characters. She had an impact on some of the characters like that. Even characters such as, Grogu, all the characters that she was in the room with at the very end of Season 2, that's another example. You can't really just remove a character because then it kind of creates complex editing. So, moving on from this, alright, apart from the overall concept by Kathleen Kennedy, what Kathleen Kennedy stated. This all alludes to what is indeed happening behind the scenes right now over at Lucasfilm, with Kathleen Kennedy running into multiple remote meetings with Disney higher-ups in negotiations of erasing Gina Carano as Cara Dune from The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. This is something that Kennedy is actually pushing to do and is trying to convince Disney to do with Gina Carano. Now, Disney CEO Bob Chapek, however, is completely not in support of this idea at all, and believes that this would only lead to further backlash from the fandom. Kathleen Kennedy is also trying to prevent Gina Carano from returning in The Mandalorian Season 4, which is already in the pipeline and being worked on between Favreau and Filoni with the Disney higher-ups. Kathleen Kennedy has been wanting to do this for a while now and recently just started taking action by having meetings with Disney to move forward with all of this and how it connects to what she recently said about Gina. Disney's higher-ups, however, believe that Kathleen Kennedy is reaching with this plan and feels that it is not only unnecessary, but also dangerous to do, as it could implode the Star Wars franchise by showing a lack of character, as a company by doing this so outrageous. One reason why Kennedy wants Carano deleted and erased from The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 has to do with the fact that Kennedy holds a grudge against Gina for being able to do her own stunts for the series, which worried Kennedy that this would actually put Lucasfilm at risk when Disney allowed Carano to do as she wanted for The Mandalorian. Now, in addition to this, Gina Carano is set to unveil more about her experience with Lucasfilm by the end of February on a major show where she will have a special interview where it's unclear who this will be at this time. To be honest, I think it could be Joe Rogan, it could be anybody around those lines, but the thing about Kathleen Kennedy here, let's, go into something that's very important that I think a lot of fans need to know right now, is that this is something that Kathleen Kennedy is trying to absolutely do. She's trying to convince Disney to move forward with this. It's obviously, not in Disney's interest. They want nothing to do with Kathleen Kennedy's proposals or her ideas or plans, if you will. To do something so extreme like this would only create a terrible backlash, probably a worse backlash than what the fans actually showed Disney after what happened with The Last Jedi by Rian Johnson. So, if they are to move forward with this, which I highly, highly doubt that they would, this would really take a lot of, courage for them to do that. It would really take a lot of, insanity. It really would, to do something to that extreme level, to really kind of embrace such a terrible idea by Kathleen Kennedy to tamper with already existing seasons that are so well developed and so well in tune with the vision of George Lucas. It would only create things worse, and I think it would only destroy the Mandalorian series right then and there. It would. I absolutely believe it would. If they were to do something like that and allow Kathleen Kennedy to move forward with that idea, it would certainly create a big mess. Now, we've seen certain franchises do something very similar to that, certain TV shows before in the past where, they took characters out and put new ones in. Obviously, I highly doubt that's going to happen. I don't see this happening at all, but it is something that Kathleen Kennedy is planning and is pushing to do and constantly trying to convince Disney to actually move forward with. I seriously don't know why she has this in her mindset, because to me it's just like let the past be the past, move on, focus on your work, and that's it, right? All she should be doing is focusing on the Acolyte, and that's it. And that's exactly all that she should be working on, not trying to destroy, aspects of the past of the franchise. So overall, I would like to hear what you guys have to say about this entire situation below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.